Hi, I'm Stefan and I'm a Vice President for Digital Transformation at Capgemini. Today, I really welcome you to our session with Erste Group. Erste Group is amazing. It's a leading international banking group in Central and Eastern Europe. And today I have invited Iona Sauli, who is the Head of Business Process Management at Erste Digital. Iona started her career as a software engineer more than 15 years ago, and in her last 5 years, she transitioned her career towards being an agile manager. Iona, we watched you and your teams from scaling at Erste Group from the first MLP in 2019 to being one of the largest digital operations transformation initiatives in your markets. Tell us a bit about your program and the challenges you have in your continuous delivery processes.
Where do I start? I really believe the challenge is similar to what other companies are going through when they are adding a new technology stack in their portfolio. So, on one hand, you are faced with the vision to transform the current working processes, and on the other, we are building capabilities in house to make better decisions using Pega. I'm here today representing the IT company of Erste Group. And before I dive into delivery methods, it would make more sense to briefly mention a few facts about the business itself. Erste Group, as you mentioned before, is one of the largest financial service provider in Eastern Europe. We count more than 16 million customers across our entities and hundreds of bank products and processes. Now, the vision that we have undertaken is that of building a digital bank. Sounds easy, right? So, this is how I see it. For every click that a customer makes, let's say you want to request a new credit or debit card, you want to open a new account, or you want to take out a loan, would mean for our bank or most of the banks that I know, in the background, in the backstage, we would have a sound, efficient, and fast back office digital framework, which provides Erste's customers and employees that exceptional experience they demand and deserve. And exactly for these backstage processes, we are using Pega scalable architecture and low-code platform.
Sounds impressive indeed, and I can only agree that we're sharing a great vision together. In our projects, we've seen both many great wins, but also failures on our way along. Operating such a program at that scale requires you to take some decisions that a couple of days or sometime later you have to revisit and have to adapt them. You told me that you had a long career outside the Pega platform in designing and building software without Pega. So now on Pega, which differences do you see? Would you say that there are a changes needed for the delivery methods?
I have to say that software design is not different to building application in other technologies, but I do see a difference in the delivery itself. Developing features in Pega, it's faster, surely. There is really a benefit to working with Pega platform and Pega prepackaged modules. It requires, though, more backlog readiness and sprint preparation, because otherwise you would end up with a situation of having a train running, but few passengers are on board or barely any passengers. These are some takeaways that we have noticed and we have learned and we have improved in our teams. We are distinguishing in our backlog between items that require services outside of Pega and Pega only stories, so we are calling them. And in the second point, the backlog items that have external dependencies in some cases are planned in a traditional way due to constraints. So let me give you an example. If we have a plan of an application A, which needs services from a solution B, we need to adapt our release to the release of the solution B. Therefore, if we are faster with Pega and solution B has a different time schedule, we need to kind of differ between our release and their releases. So we develop our features, but we release with the time of the solution number B. And the third point mean that our release plan should be a bit streamlined. So we have predefined weekly release slots that we could use for any kind of combination. Say a Pega team has finished a sprint and has no data dependency, and then they go with the train which is going on week one. Or we have a Pega team which is ready to deploy in 2 weeks prior, but data services have a different schedule. Therefore, we are preparing this release plan, which gives the chance to every team to jump in every train based on their times, on their delivery schedule, on their testing schedule, and on the data services production schedule. You mentioned delivery methods, if we have done something different. We are not using a single book methodology. We are using best practices from various agile methodologies. And we have onboarded at the moment 6 Pega development teams, so we do not expect that every Pega team implements by the book the same methodology, because we are dealing with different mindset and different people and different cultures. So we leave our teams to grow. We definitely have a foundation that we are using in every team, sort of core rules that we will apply in estimations, in planning, in the way how we gather requirements and how we get user feedback. But in terms of having one single methodology, I cannot say this year that we have found that silver bullet that fits to every team.
So combining different ways of working, different ways of deploying, but how do you then test and validate the final product when closing a sprint?
This question deserves a longer answer. And definitely, I'm not the best test expert, but let me share with you what worked in the past months. As I mentioned, with our delivery methods, that we are continuously learning and improving based on what we are seeing, how the teams are performing, and how faster we are getting with the delivery. In testing, we have learned a few things. So we are performing exploration testing during the sprint, even though in some cases is manual. On top of that, to validate, we are creating test data to mock the test when the data services are not ready to follow our sprint planning. As I mentioned, we don't have an ideal world where all the data services that we need are following our release plan. Therefore, we have the need to create this test data. And in the third is a key highlight, and I would say a success story from 2021 was building an automation framework that fits very good with Pega. And we are using this to reduce manual testing efforts and increase software quality.
I know that you're passionate about deep dives, and you told me that you're happy to connect also after this session with the community to do exactly this and explore the details of the solutions that you have created with your teams. Um, as a closing remark for today, what are your lessons learned? Which recommendations would you like to share with the community?
I wish we would have more time in this round and to connect more with the community, but in that case, I'm leaving this session open for any future invitation from the community or other industries that are working and facing challenges similar to ours. Therefore, let's connect and let's figure out together how to work better and deliver faster with Pega. But as learnings from my experience, I would be the following. Currently, we have onboarded 6 Pega development teams, and in order to feed them with the right challenges, I would say, with first key learning, challenge and iterate on business processes before starting a Pega application design. We often do things just because we always did it in a certain way. Secondly, define and challenge the data flow and the system architecture. In a complex organization, data integration layer, it's a challenge and can be really, really a challenge. Many data providers have different release trains, and as we do with Pega, meaning that our MVP scoping needs to adapt accordingly. Road mapping, business goals, and delivery plans will end up in a mixture between traditional and adaptive method. It does not matter what is the name of your delivery method, but it matters if the delivery of the core functionalities, even if it's not agile, even if it's named something else, um, would matter in order to achieve the business goals that are given to the respective team. And the last but not least is the look and feel. Enterprise level skins might be a basic requirement, but if not executed correctly, it might really impact user experience in the long run.
So data, road mapping, or with amazing UX. Thank you, Iona, for sharing today and for joining us. At Capgemini, we are very proud to be your partner in this initiative, and I'm sure that all participants today have learned something, and some will for sure reach out to you to do some further breakouts. Thank you all for coming. Goodbye.